Hey everyone, Asam Builds here, and today I wanted to talk about the lack of Phase 1 clone troopers. It's no secret that LEGO Star Wars fans have a kind of a big obsession with clones, and that being said, we've kind of gotten a lot over the years recently. LEGO's really kind of gotten around to fulfilling what the fans want, listening to us, and we've gotten a lot of clone sets that I'm pretty happy to have. I'm not going to talk about how great those clones are, I think, because I have a different video talking about that. The helmet hole controversy is a whole different topic that I won't touch in this video. But no one can deny that the amount of clone sets we're getting is great to see, and especially the what sets they are. They're definitely listening to us, and it's a great time to be a fan of LEGO. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten a good amount of Phase 1 clones in a set for quite a long time, actually. The last Phase 1 troops we've seen were in 2021 with the release of the minifigure pack and the UCS gunship. Now, the gunship, of course, had that one lieutenant, and that's not really an army build or anything, so we can't really count that. It was nice to see, but that figure was also included in the minifigure pack anyway. And that being said about the minifigure pack, it was decent for army building. It had the two regular clones. The one lieutenant kind of brought it down a little bit, but the biggest problem was it was incredibly hard to find. Even though it had great looking figures, it was so hard to find, and it only lasted about a year before its retirement. So getting these was next to impossible. That's been it for the past 6 years since the Jedi and Clone Troopers Battle Pack, and that set was also kind of just a dud. It was a battle pack, but you really couldn't army build, or at least you could, but it was kind of going to be a waste of money because you had two Jedi in that battle pack, so half of your money was going to these Jedi that you were just going to get tons of duplicates of, which just made no sense. That's really an embarrassing amount when you consider what Phase 2 has gotten over these years, especially the last few years. It doesn't really make sense, and if you wanted a good amount of Phase 1 clones, before that you'd have to go back to pretty much 2012 or 2013 to see any good amount of figures in a set. It's really sad to see, honestly. I'm not sure why they're getting the cold shoulder, but I do think it needs to change because I would really love the opportunity to army build both these guys, Phase 1 and Phase 2. I will say personally, I do like Phase 1 better, so maybe I have some bias there, but no one can deny that we're not getting basically any sets compared to Phase 2. Back in the prime Clone Wars days, we pretty much only got Phase 1 in the beginning, and then towards the end of the show it shifted to Phase 2, which made sense though. It wasn't really anything anyone could complain about because the sets they were making went with the show they were making. So when the show went later in the seasons, got Phase 2, switched to Phase 2. Right now though, the Clone Wars isn't current, They just are choosing to make Phase 2 only. And that's really sad. A lot of people I know want Phase 1 troops, and specifically like the Phase 1 commanders too. Those guys that we got with the old Clone Wars sets were so cool, and the price on those just keep going up and up and up. And that just proves my point of how much people really want these guys and would love to see Phase 1 variations of all their favorite clone commanders and troopers. The only Clone Wars content going on right now, or at least Clone Wars related, is the Bad Batch, but we're not getting any sets based on that, so you can't really give them that for the Phase 2 sets. One big part of this video, though, I really want to talk about is how the printing on the Phase 1 and Phase 2 troops are actually the exact same. LEGO didn't make a new print for these guys. Now, the armor is supposed to be a little bit different, but it's not that noticeable, so it's kind of acceptable for what LEGO did. But I think if they're going to make the armor the exact same, I think it would also make sense to include two versions of a helmet for the troopers. For example, the new Clones vs. Droids Battle Pack. If they would have included 3 normal helmets for those plain clones, that would have been an amazing deal. You could have had 2 variations of the same troop for the same dollar amount. Now, do I actually expect LEGO to ever do something like this? No, they're a business. They want to make money. We've seen how they operate. They're never going to do this. Does it make sense? Yes. Should they do it? Yes. If they're going to be cheap and reuse the same print on 2 different soldiers, then they should also include 2 helmets for us so we can switch between phase 1 and phase 2. I think it just makes perfect sense. I don't ever expect them to do it. Like I said, we kind of know how LEGO operates at this point, and I don't actually see it happening, but I definitely think it's something that should be considered and done. It would definitely end this argument, and that way they wouldn't really have to choose one over the other. They could just include both in the set where it's applicable. You know, I don't know why we aren't getting phase 1. It doesn't really make sense. When LEGO's releasing sets, for some reason for clones, they always seem to either favor phase 1 or favor phase 2. There's never a good mix going on. It's kind of weird. I wish it's something they would kind of stop, and I would just prefer a good mix of phase 1 and phase 2. Or like I said, in an ideal world, LEGO would be nice and give us both helmets for the troopers. Anyway, though, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts. I really just wanted to get this video out there because I haven't seen too many people talk about this. I've seen a couple kind of whispers around, and some people are mentioning it, but I think some people are just so happy that we're getting clone sets that they're kind of not realizing, hey, we're not getting any phase 1. I hate to complain when we're getting so many clone sets, but I miss phase 1. Hopefully this video can spark some kind of conversation in the community. Maybe eventually we can kind of get a good balance going between phase 1 and phase 2. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me. Would you prefer a better mix of phase 1 and phase 2? Or do you like it better when LEGO kind of goes in waves of we're going to make phase 1 sets for a while or we're going to make phase 2 sets for a while? Go ahead and let me know that down in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys have to say. And hope you guys enjoyed. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.